What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Roo.
Welcome to Couch in the Roo, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis, inspiring people to do better, be better, love better, look better every damn day of their lives. And our Sunday night show, presented by our friends Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management. If you've got investment questions about anything, Social Security benefits, saving for your kids' college education, anything investment related, getting your money to work for you in a volatile market, Mark and Jay are here for you. Call them at 248-626-2000. That's 248-626-2000. You can find them online at northcoastwm.com or email Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management at info@northcoastwm.com. Let them know Couch in the Roof sent you for a free consultation. See if Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management are a fit for you. Jason, how you doing, man?
What's up, buddy? Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, been all right.
Did you jump on this today?
Buenos tardes. It is time for the Detroit Tigers Gambling Update with Gramanito Couch and Jason Nick.
I mean, I was seeing plus money on the Rockies money line all day long this morning. I mean, come on, you know,
did you
they went
it?
out and celebrated. Well, no, I'm not gambling for like a couple days, so
for any particular reason.
But the Masters really hurt.
Okay,
a lot, so I'm trying to recover, and I have a wedding to pay for. So yeah,
I screwed it up.
Come on, the night before, they partied last night with Miggy hitting his 3,000th.
I not only took the Tigers, I then
today?
Yes, today.
Okay,
because I'm an idiot, right? Downloaded that. Right, all right. I went on the Firekeepers iCasino Sportsbook app, and I was like, minus 130. Fuck it,
really?
I'll do the Tigers. It was dumb. I felt good. I had a little late luck in the Premier League this morning.
So you wanted to roll it up.
Yeah. But then where I get dumb, right? Later on, I check in. I realize it's 6-1, and I'm like, I'm going to take the Rockies minus 4.5. Of course, the Rockies couldn't hold that, but the Tigers aren't shit right now anyway. So it's 6-2. So I lost both bets with not great juice. It was just an ass.
But you're smarter than that.
I am.
I mean, honestly, you didn't see that whole celebration. You didn't think that the Tigers were going to wake up and go, shit.
It was dumb.
This game's at 1, right? Oh, man.
Dumb. Just ridiculously dumb.
Yeah, at least you admit it. You show other people that, hey, we can make dumb mistakes.
It's easy to do in gambling. Because what happens is when you win a couple games, you start to feel, no matter how experienced you are at this, you feel a little invincible. Let's have some fun. Let's have some action.
Go get all Will teamed up.
Yes. Which that leads me into my first hot take.
Do it.
I think the Miguel Cabrera 3,000 hits day in the first game of that doubleheader was awesome, right? It was fun to see people that joyous. It was fun to see him do it. What a big deal it was. It was fun to see them put up a lot of runs, although one of my biggest pet peeves is do not have quiet bats in game 2 if you're going to shell out that many runs in game 1. Like, spread it out. Like, there's no excuse for that. I can get it's a different pitcher and all that. Don't blow your wad, so to speak, right?
So you shouldn't score runs, even though they're throwing beach balls across the plate.
Obviously, it just
wants you to take a pitch.
Just drives me nuts when teams do that, right? Anyway, but that was a fun moment. But the more I watch this team, I am genuinely concerned, and I do think there's a real chance that the Tigers are way out of the thick of things by the time they get healthy enough to maybe have a chance to make a move, and that pitching staff especially. I mean, the Colorado Rockies are not that good a team, and look, baseball is a sport where the best teams lose 60 games and the worst teams win 60 games almost, and within a series, there's only so much you can read into it. But there is evidence here that the Tigers are just not quite good enough, and the real question is, can they hang in there to not get, to make this a fun summer for us, to have the Tigers be a thing this summer. And if they're 9 games below 500 come June, that's not going to be a thing. And so they've got to find a way to do that. And right now I'm looking at this team, and and it's not really their fault, because I do think if they had all the horses they intended to have, that they would have that. They would be at least a competitive team. They are a competitive team, but you know what I mean. They'd be a little more on the front.
But they've had games where they look completely boneheaded, and you're like, is this the Lansing Lugnuts?
And
no
they
offense to
beat
the
themselves,
Lugnuts.
too, sometimes. Yeah, it's not just – it's the way they look. I got a bad feeling this team is 9 games under 500 on June 1st, and the Tigers are not a thing this summer, and that's really frustrating, even though –
They'll be a thing if they compete. If they play like they've played in a couple games, like I mentioned, and just boneheaded play, and they're not really giving effort. I think that the fans just want an effort and compete with teams.
And they want smart play. To me,
right.
They're not good enough to not, they've had some plays where you go, not this year. Okay,
beer league softball.
Not this year. Yeah, that's right. I've seen that play. I managed the LSJ team. I've seen Stephanie at third base overthrow. Like I know what that looks like. Like
it's good skymint, man.
Yeah.
Watching the Tigers or what?
What is your first hot take?
I'm scared for NCAA college men's basketball, Graham. You tweeted this out over the weekend, the name, image, and likeness action by Miami by a guy named John Ruiz. I don't know who that is. By Life Wallet. I looked into that a little bit. Really don't know what that is. And he's giving a player a transfer from Kansas State, Nigel Pack. Have you ever heard of Nigel Pack before?
I mean, I actually...
When you and Brendan Quinn 69, you guys ever talk about Nigel Pack?
I actually only knew of him because the guy we just hired at the LSJ previously covered Kansas State. But otherwise, if not for that stroke of luck, I would not have heard of him.
What scares me, Graham, is that this is going to be a trend, and these kids are going to get ripped off, and everything is going to crumble to the ground. And Tom Izzo is going to retire in under 4 years, I feel, if this keeps happening. This guy's getting $400,000 a year. I mean, there's no parameters for this name, image, and likeness. It scares me a little bit. I think these guys should totally be able to get paid, do whatever they, sign cards, some jerseys, anything like that. But this by a guy who appears to be a little shady, John H. Ruiz, attorney at law, and Life Wallet. Did you look into Life Wallet at all?
So
I don't know what it is. They have like 90 followers on their Twitter account, and they're just throwing out $800K.
So this is going to – I'll stay here because this is going to be in my second hot take as well. This is where the concern should lie, and some of it's going to have to sort itself out. But the idea when this started, when name, image, and likeness started, was that boosters would not be able to do this, right? And it just seems like a free-for-all. I'm actually we're going to do something at the LSJ on this shortly because we're going to kind of get into what is and what isn't allowed and what the schools are learning this stuff, right? And it seems like a free-for-all. Like, to me, Matt Ishbia shouldn't be able to pay for Mel Tucker's contract and then also do the name, image, and likeness. Like, isn't that what a booster is? So, because here,
it's exactly what it is.
What's really interesting is this is so different than professional sports. In professional sports, when you get a player to endorse your company, you're doing that because you think they bring value to your company. And yes, and I understand that this player brings some value, but it doesn't measure the money that you're giving him. What you care about is your team so irrationally and so passionately that you're willing to just pay whatever as a booster to get them in there. It's not really what they're worth. It's what the school is worth to you, so you'll just put anybody in there because you have the money to blow to do it. And technically it's their market value, I guess, but it's not really. None of these guys are worth jack shit without the school. And I do think that, look, I'm all about, you got to be careful because people should get their money. They should get paid. Okay, but understand this. If there is some risk in college sports here, there really is, and things getting so out of whack that nobody really wants to be a part of this and turning certain fan bases off. You need Wichita State. You need Southern Illinois. You need New Mexico. You need those places to be able to dream and to have hope. And if those places are all just feeders in the transfer portal for when they get good players, and you wind up with a smaller collection of powers, you may be a fan of a power school and think that's good. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. The hope is what makes the collective sport interesting. The New Mexico fan, the Wichita fan, you got to have it all. It doesn't work. The quality of product isn't that good. It's not good enough without the complete passion and buy-in from all these places. And it's not going to happen overnight, but I do think this is the first time I've looked at college sports and gone, I do think this could turn some people off. Now, why does it turn people off? Why does the idea of somebody transferring, getting a ton of money turn somebody off? You have to ask yourself that. But if the whole sport feels a little icky right now, even if it was just as icky before, but it's just icky out in the open,
But there's no rules. That's why it feels weird. Now, I have no problem if it starts becoming a normal thing where guys are getting $400K. I'm not ripping the player whatsoever. What I'm scared of is these shady guys, like guys that are back in the cocaine cowboy days in Miami. Are they going to come back and lurk around these athletes? And that's what scares me. If it's on the up and up, we know the rules. It's all transparent. Hell, pay the guys $1 million if they want to.
Yeah,
but it just makes me nervous.
I just wish it wasn't on the recruiting end and get it dealing with 18 and 19-year-olds. And I
don't care what anybody says. Jay Wright retiring was eye-opening to me because I didn't really hear anything about that. He was relatively young for that profession, in good health. I don't know about the roster if he was losing a bunch of guys, but it's kind of weird for a guy to retire just like that.
No, there was there was a really good piece by hold on, let me find this real quick.
Cockburn.
Dana O'Neill. So Dana O'Neill at The Athletic did a good piece, and one of the things that she got into in this piece was there were a lot of reasons. I mean, he had lost some steam, but he realized that he did not want to. He didn't know NIL, but he didn't really want to get into it. He didn't want to learn this stuff. He didn't want to. He knew he was behind, but he didn't have the steam to start on this. And I think there are a lot of guys like that, and that's okay too. If this is a major change in college sports that is only for the better, or is what it is, and it leads some of the old guard getting out and newer people in who want to deal with it.
But at what cost, though? Is it the wild, wild west? I mean, these guys can just do whatever they want and make up some fucking app that no one knows about and pay these guys and funnel money through.
Yeah, but look what Ishby is doing. What is?
I understand that, but there needs to be some sort of rules, Graham.
What are any of the MSU football players? What true value to his mortime company are they bringing by
0.0
by tweeting about it once in a while, right?
Getting that name out. I mean, maybe.
I guess. I'm. This is something that I think I'm going to spend quite a bit of time starting to look into and starting to do just different components because it's starting to interest me. It didn't for a while, but when it starts to get real weird. And it starts to get...
You weren't interested in the fact, like, what was going to happen without there being some sort of rules and regulations. That's all I'm saying. I don't care, players or any company that wants to pay these guys, but if they aren't vetted, some of these companies, then that's going to lead to problems.
And you have the combination of the one-time transfer rule at the same time as NIL hitting, and that's creating some of this. These people want... players don't want to leave if they've got the deterrent of sitting out. It's just not as big a deal. And so you have that at the same time concurrently happening with the changes in NIL. It's going to be fascinating. But it is when you see people making hundreds of thousands of dollars who were decent players on 14 and 17 basketball teams, you go, this isn't market value. I guess the market sets it, but it's a fucked up market, right? That's not really – they're not bringing that much value to you. He's a star on an NIT team, but he might be able to help what you have, and you care about that school. And maybe that's okay. Maybe it's just about who has the biggest donors and who has the biggest people who irrationally care about this with the most money, and those schools are going to do well. And you know what I really hope? I hope there are alumni of smaller schools that all of a sudden get bigger players. That's what I mean. I would love to see Southern Illinois with like a top 5 recruiting class because they got some dude who's willing to pay for it. And then I would find the humor in it and might enjoy the whole damn thing.
Yeah, but if they're just getting one guy, college basketball will be ass. It'll be just a lot of teams like front-loaded and stuff like that. Question, does Nigel Pack have an agent, or is he brokering these deals for himself?
They can have they have something. They're not technically, but they have something.
Mark J. Live read.
Oh, yes. So if you're Nigel Pack right now, or anybody who's come into money like Nigel Pack badly needs Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management. Thank you, Jason.
No problem.
Because there is a kid who's 20 years old who's just lived in Manhattan, Kansas, who's moving to Miami, and all of a sudden has a lot of money, who has no freaking idea what to do with it, I'm guessing. Mark and Jay can help him. They can help him invest that wisely so that he still has some of that money and it grows it. When that kid turns 30, he won't even need to work if he does his next couple years right and calls Mark and Jay. That's 248-626-2000. That's for you, Nigel Pack. 248-626-2000. Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management, or email them at info@northcoastwm.com. What is your second hot take?
If 2022 were a person, Graham, it would be Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is not going to play in Game 4 after 10 days of what he said pain-free ramp-ups following the recovery from a herniated disc, in quotes. Now, Simmons was planning on playing, but came in this morning I don't know. My back kind of doesn't feel right, Coach. And is going to miss game 4. Has there been more precaution with any athlete in our lifetimes like Ben Simmons?
I don't think.
What is this fucking mentality? I'll be old guy. I don't care. Clint Eastwood meme. Fucking I don't care. Get off my lawn. This is just absolutely ridiculous, especially when I know the ticket prices and all that BS, but come on, man. How much time do you need? Are you going through mental stuff? Then I understand that. Then go get help. Don't be on the court and with your guys dressing like a hippie from the 1970s. I'm just saying, I don't know what these guys think they're doing, but they're going to really make fans not want to root for their team or any NBA team. It's just ridiculous. And coaches, why would anyone want to coach this shit?
Well, but hold on. I think you're broad brushing a lot of things. But Ben Simmons is a guy that I don't think anybody believes anymore about whatever injury he has or whatever's going on. They don't know. I mean, because
I do know it doesn't take that long to come back from a herniated disc.
Correct. But I think part of it was they knew if he took. First of all, it doesn't help the team for him probably to take the court now.
Hurt ego, whatever. Why wouldn't it? They need help, whatever. They're down 3-0.
Yeah, because
then tell me that he's out for the year.
That's what they should have done. This is on the Nets, by the way. The Nets should have said we're going to, at some point we're just going to have him play next year. It doesn't help you now. It
started when they went back to Philly and he was going to play then, and it's been
the most intense time of the season. You're not going to come in off the street and all of a sudden do this, and there would be so much pressure, so many eyes. The Nets should be smarter in this. You play next year. That's the bottom line. The sad thing is,
then what happens next year when he gets out there and he's like, it's very uncomfortable out there. People are yelling at me.
You made the trade. You traded one nincompoop for another, and James Harden for him. Yeah, sorry. I mean, it's just it is what it is. You want these guys, you got to deal with them. Whatever. I got very little sympathy for anything. I just don't think he's. Look, do I think there's some stuff in the NBA that, in terms of softness or guys taking extra days off or all this stuff? Yeah. But I don't think he is sort of.
These guys cry a lot. They sit there and something happens to their ankle, which I understand is hurt, but you'd act like they're dead, and all of a sudden they come back on the court.
You're talking about soccer,
dude. It's happening in the NBA.
Okay, yeah, well,
and yes, soccer blows. Now that you mention it,
all right. My third hot take: Kenneth Walker, possibly the first running back off the board, right? And I think there is some, I don't want to say there's concern that that running backs can be the weak spot this year, but there's concern. How much was he carrying them last year? How much were they a 5-7 team? And I think, they probably were without him. And how much without that player can they? How much do they miss that player? How much can they make up for his absence? Is the rest of the team and program really have better depth of talent? Really that much stronger to get through? I think there's a little bit of concern. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Or a little curiosity, if not concern.
Sure.
And I was working on a column yesterday on just sort of looking at the NFL drafts and how real telling they are of the strength of Michigan State's program, really more so than recruiting classes in the past, because, I mean, obviously you look in hindsight and recruiting classes look really good, and there have been some that are better than others, but the draft really, even though it's delayed, tells you everything you need to know. When Michigan State was putting 20 guys in the draft over 5 years and some of the 3 first-round picks in 3 straight years and all this stuff, those were the years that they won 60 games in 6 years or whatever it was. And the years they put 7 over the next 5 years in the draft, those are the years that they were pretty damn average or below average. Like it's real obvious in who the guys are, and some of those guys weren't great draft picks. But one of the things I started thinking about was, when have they actually not had a running back? Like, you lose Le'Veon Bell, who, like Kenneth Walker, was probably the best running back. I don't know if he's the best in the country that year. I don't remember who else was there, but he was
people yelling out right now or when they listen to this.
But he was in Kenneth Walker's league. He was a 1,700-yard back. It was incredible. And yet the next year they discovered Jeremy Langford, who has 2 straight 1,500-yard years and is outstanding and is an NFL running back. Before that, not long they have Javon Ringer. Outstanding, quality running back, NFL guy who got hurt and that limited his career, but outstanding. There have been very few times in Michigan State that they haven't had a quality running back. And at that position, at a place like MSU, this is a diva position. Guys want the ball. They have good running backs at much smaller schools. You should always have a dude at running back. If you don't, you want positions to critique recruiting. If you don't have a guy at running back, then your staff isn't doing something right. And if you trust Mel Tucker, and I think most people do right now in recruiting, Michigan State's going to have a guy there. Look what he did. I mean, when they thought they might not this year, they went out and brought in 2 transfers, in Jalen Berger and Broussard, and the 2 guys who are probably going to be the 2 main running backs for them. And I think Broussard is a guy that people are – I think both guys are going to be effective. The question is, can they – the thing about Walker is he could do it with an average offensive line. But I just don't I started thinking about that, and I just don't think – and I don't know how much of a hot take this is. I don't think that's – but I was writing about Kenneth Walker and thinking about it.
I like watching Chris Paul play basketball.
That's why it's number 3. But the idea was I just do not think –
you need a running back.
It should be a concern. It shouldn't be a concern for people. I think it's never should be a concern. If it becomes a problem, then you've misjudged how good Tucker is and how good this staff is. It is a position where you ought to be able to, at every decent high major program in the country, pretty much have a dude. And a place like Michigan State that's had a lot of great running backs over time and has a lot of energy and zest with the staff, you should always have guys there. What is your third hot take? Save me.
I have a problem with old people and Meijer Thrifty Acres. Now, to those that are across the nation listening to this fine podcast, Meijer is a kind of a grocery store that is around here in the Midwest area. Now, Graham, I went in there before the card show at the Lansing Mall on Saturday, where I heard 2 had to be 80-plus-year-old women yelling at the cashier behind the counter because the Meijer makes their employees check everyone's ID. No matter of age, we need to scan your ID. It says it on a sign. And these 2 old hens were absolutely pecking away at this poor lady behind the counter. Now, here's my thing. You have to have a little common sense here, Meijer. Let your employees, if they see an old blue hair and she just wants to get her scratch-off lotto ticket in Pall Malls, to let her just go through. Let's just have that common sense rule. Can we do it? Can we have a common sense court? Just call them up and go, give us the scenario. We could do that, Graham. $25 an hour, we just have a common sense court. Call us whenever you want, like a cameo. Is this common sense? Let the 80-year-old through. But here's the other thing. In that time that those 2 old birds were sitting there like yelling at this lady, you could just show your ID, scan it, and be gone with your items. That's it.
Thank you. It's a story we're telling, presented by Midtown Brewing Company at 402 South Washington Avenue.
I don't hate
downtown
old
Lansing.
people. I'm just saying, if you have to show your ID and it just a scan, just show it. Big deal. Who gives a shit? These poor people are behind the counter, and they get fined $500 if they don't check people's ID. They don't want to do it either.
Really cool new pulled pork sandwich at Midtown Brewing Company. It looks outstanding. That I'm going to have to try really quickly here. We are going to take a really quick break and come back with your hot takes, which I think will rescue our hot takes, which I think collectively.
I enjoyed mine.
I think collectively.
I'll bring mine down with you.
I think collectively those are the worst 6 hot takes we've ever had.
Oh, don't bring me down with yours.
Mine sucked.
All right.
And yours were average. And they weren't Carmen Electra, but
get a helmet. It's going to get worse.
Yeah, but there's some really good stuff from listeners. Some great stuff on MSU basketball, MSU football, the Lions draft, Tigers, everything. We'll get into that next.
Old ladies.
Yeah, everything. Some great stuff. Couch in the Roof, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis and Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management.
Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play. Get your Vegas on right now from your phone, tablet, or laptop. All the hottest slots and tables, plus sports betting featuring in-game wagering. Download the app at firekeeperscasino.com. Go with the name you know. Firekeepers. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with 1 awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Wherever you are on your cannabis journey, let Sky Mint Premium Cannabis be your guide, your friend, and your place. Whether you're curious about cannabis or a seasoned connoisseur, Sky Mint's knowledgeable staff will help you with a vast selection of products to choose from to fit your needs. Sky Mint believes access to the best cannabis helps people do good and feel good, so they grow it right here in Michigan, giving you high-quality, locally grown cannabis at highly accessible prices. Visit skymint.com for special offers and location information throughout Michigan, and use the promo code CouchAndRube20 for 20% off your first visit. Sky Mint Cannabis. You'll love this place.
Find Couch and the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite, Podcast Addict.
Come, my lady, come, my lady. You're my butterfly, sugar.
Couch in the Roof, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis, inspiring people to do better, look better, love better, be better every damn day of their lives. Helps you sleep better, too, man. I'm going to tell you right now, I've had some amazing night's sleep in the last week, thanks to Skymint. And
a lot of people tell me that.
Yeah. Just
that's what they use to get to sleep.
It's absolutely outstanding. All right, and also Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management. If you have investment questions, Mark and Jay are here to help. That is 248-626-2000, and you can email them at info@northcoastwm.com. That's Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management if you have any investment questions. All right, let's dig into your hot takes. You ready?
Yeah, man. Eric Schultz, of course, up first. Number one, the fact that Graham grew up in this town hurts how he views MSU basketball. In his mind, we should all just be happy that they're better than they were when he was a kid and Judd was in charge. Again, please understand who the current coach is and what Hall of Fame means. 2, Christie wouldn't be leaving if he thought MSU had a contender next season. And 3, the weather this spring was more mentally taxing than the weather this past winter. Thank God it's finally nice out.
So, to his let's hit points number 1 and 2 here. The idea that because I grew up here, the way I view MSU basketball, that people should be just happy that they're not the middling program that they were. And look, I don't think people should be satisfied. And I understand your perspective, Eric, probably more than you think I do. But the thing that to remember, though, is it's still a one-coach program. So that coach has created the expectation, right? I mean, so I get that could be frustration, and I think it's fine to have frustration with them. I think it's fine to question, what are you going to do at the center spot? Like, that should be a concern. You want to be competitive every year. And it's fine to say, it stinks that Max Christie's leaving. That's not really to your second point, Christie wouldn't be leaving if he thought MSU had a contender next season. I think that's not entirely off base, but it's also not entirely true. In other words, I think if he thought
out.
Right. Well, that's thank you. I think if MSU had a lot of help around him next year and it looked like it was going to be a great team, that would definitely factor in his decision. But I don't think that's what's driving his decision right now. I don't. I think he wants to be a pro. The people around him have seen him as a pro from ever. The whole idea was one and done, 5-star kid, all that stuff, and that's, I think, is a much bigger part of that. And that's not really Izzo's fault. With some of these kids, they come back. Some of them make bad decisions. Some of them make good decisions, and I don't think that it hurts Michigan State, no doubt. The whole time that I was talking this year about this being a 2-year deal for Michigan State, a 2-year group, I was including Max Christie. You take Max Christie out of that, I don't know. I still think they could be an okay roster. I still think, as we've talked about with the man bra bet, where if they don't win 20 wins, then I've got to do a show wearing a sports bra sewn together because there aren't really any that fit my rib cage. Like, I still think they're going to be, at minimum, a competitive team that's an NCAA tournament team. But it doesn't mean there aren't reasons to go, how good are they actually going to be? And there should be concerns. And the staff should be working, to make the roster as good as it can absolutely be next season.
When does Christie have to make the announcement? Whether he's coming back,
I want to say it's June 1st. Well, May 1st is the transfer portal deadline, but June 1st. It's a ways. That's the other challenge for
Great.
That's
more Twitter question Fridays.
No, what I'm saying is that's the hard part again for coaches everywhere. when you're trying to build a roster. You don't even know who's coming back when you're trying to do this, and which makes it even more difficult. But what you do know is your big man went into the transfer portal, and so you got to probably replace him. Now, what was Julius Marble as a defender? Not a whole lot, and that was a lot of people's concerns anyway. So I don't know how much you're losing there, but you're losing a capable offensive player. You're losing a guy who's a lot more seasoned than Madi Sissoko or Jackson Kohler, who's a lot more fit to guard certain centers than Joey Hauser at times. There's no question. And you're also in a spot where and we'll get into this with more questions on this, but there are not a lot of really quality bigs out there. That there are a couple that could fit that they don't seem to be in on, but there are not a lot of guys that seem like they're real upgrades that are gonna change who you are. I mean, it's hard. They brought in Ben Carter a few years ago, right? And Ben Carter is like the most hated man in MSU basketball history for some reason.
Dominic up next. Number 1, I figured out Graham's entire career ascent. He simply assures his readership that everything is a 2-year plan, and then he keeps flexing in another year or so. No matter what, he always has a buffer. It's fucking genius.
Thank you.
2, Baez has real fucking Pedro Serrano energy. You got to have more plate discipline at these kind of dollars at this point in your career. I know it's early, but this was a deal in Chicago too. And 3, Magic documentary was fire, but Tim Stout getting interviewed over Graham Stout was an abomination. Deadass thought Apple was going to autoplay a 40-second live read about his announcement. Well, we thought he could have HIV, but then again, he could have AIDS. Time will tell.
Well done.
Okay. I didn't know Stout was in it.
Oh, Stout's in it.
He has to be, I guess,
yeah,
right?
He provided a lot of the
young Dean.
Yeah, provided a lot of the footage probably too. The 2-year group thing, that's not the plan. Although this might be a 2-year group now.
It's not as dumb as he looks,
It is fun. I mean, they're obviously going after some pretty good players in 2023, and they obviously have one in Jeremy Fears Jr. already in the fold, and so. Again, those guys will be freshmen. Then I still think that this was not the plan. The plan was not to lose Julius Marble. The plan was for him to become a more complete player. The plan was for for Max Christie to be a 2-year guy, and that hasn't happened. So it's okay to say things aren't going as planned. But I don't know what you want me to do about it. That's I guess my question. I mean, do you want me to just hate on and rail on Izzo? And you know what? Maybe there is more critical analysis that's needed. And I would just want to make sure I have all the information before I do it. Like I'm doing a piece on Joey Hauser tomorrow, and I may talk to Izzo tomorrow. I'm going to take a few days off from the LSJ after that. So, but I want to get a sense of where his head is before I, just lay into him making bad decisions here. And that's, yeah.
Don't coach my team.
Spartan Johnny next. Number 1, with all Graham's hounding to us that the transfer portal is here and we need to deal with it, the good and the bad, can a brother get an LSJ article about the top 10 players MSU should be targeting in the portal? 2, Max Christie is going to Erasm Lorebeck, Marcus Taylor, Devontae Davis the crap out of himself if he doesn't come back. I hope I'm wrong, but best of luck, Max. But give Gary Harris a call, bub. 3, spring football event should be fun. Open tailgate, open doors for all into certain parts of Breslin and football facility. Those attending game are entered into a raffle to win some of Ishbia's money. Use MUN and have players interact with fans similar to Midnight Madness. I love it.
Yes, I do.
Get one of those cash machines. You go in there and you try to grab all the dollars.
But no, I do think there's so much more they can do with that spring of football finale event thing.
How about anything?
Right, something.
Start there.
Don't just open practice, right? Or if you do, just don't expect attendance. I've really come around on this. Like, the more I've talked to people who win, the more it just felt like, okay.
Whoa. You're walking it back then?
No, no. Yes and no. I'm Graham Stouting it. Because I do think.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Well, I do think, if you care and you're passionate, you love a program, right, and you care how they do, and the head coach of that program, who's somebody you believe in, says to you, we want you there, and everything else you do is fun, and this isn't as much fun, but it's an ask, maybe you just do it even if it sucks. And because
It's a
this is
big
your way
ask.
to. Is it to show up for 2
I'd
hours
rather
on
have
Saturday?
Tucker ask me to help him move.
Yeah. Well,
To be honest with you.
okay. Well, if it's a huge, but I also think if you're MSU, you can do more to entice it, because as you just said, it's a big ask, right? So I see.
Hey, Jason, I need help with a pool table. You got a minute? No problem, Tuck. Tuck coming.
To Max Christie's point with the Rossum Lorbeck, Taylor, and Devontae Davis, I'm curious to see what happens to him. I didn't see Jordan Poole becoming the player he is, and we were talking about this with Sean Windsor last week, and the idea they aren't identical players, but still, I did not see him becoming the dude he is right now for Golden State. So maybe it'll all come together. Maybe this will be fine for Max Christie. It just doesn't feel like a good decision for him. Like if I were his father, his brother, his uncle, anybody in his ear, I would want to talk to the other people in his ear and say, yo, what are you thinking? What do you see? And maybe he's hearing from NBA people who will convince him to come back. Or maybe he's hearing from NBA people who say, look, we get that you're not ready for the league. Here's our plan if we draft you. We think you've got great upside. We're going to draft you late first, early second round. There's guaranteed money. In the G League, we're going to spend time on you and develop you this way. We're going to have you up with it. Maybe they got a plan, and maybe it makes sense. But he is not an NBA player, so that's.
So is it possible that he could just kind of hurry his decision? Because you mentioned, like, for recruiting, it would help if he wants to end up coming back. I can understand testing the waters with the hopes that, hey, can we kind of maybe hurry this up a little bit? Because I feel like he's had enough time to kind of test the waters, right?
No,
hear from people
no, because you're going to go through the combine stuff. There's a lot of workouts this month. There's a lot of stuff still to come, and so I don't. The combine at in Chicago's in the middle of the month, like all that
but
stuff.
Izzo knows guys, and couldn't they watch a workout or watch tape and go, "Hey, can you give me an assessment of what you think?"
Sure,
right
but Max
now?
Christie isn't even on campus. He's not even around. Like he's left as if he's leaving. Like he's
all right.
And so I just don't think that's where his head is. He's going to need somebody, I think, to say to him, or some experience where it goes, boy, maybe I'm not ready. Maybe I really would. Maybe I missed this. Maybe I would like to come back, and maybe that happens. I just don't think they're expecting him back. And to an LSJ article on the top 10 players they should be targeting. Maybe that's not a bad idea on like guys available. I don't know what should be targeting. And really, when you look at the big men available, I was looking the other. It's not a great list. My top guy, and he's not. I don't think he's considering MSU is the Johnny Broom, kid from Morehead State, who's a 6'10" sophomore and was the Ohio Valley Defensive Player of the Year and all that stuff. I don't know. He is not mentioned Michigan State anywhere. I don't know if Michigan State's had any interest in him. Auburn, Duke, Florida, Gonzaga, Houston, Kentucky, Louisville, Memphis. He's the guy that I think, boy, that guy is upper tier Big Ten level. But other than that, among the elite guys, you start to go a little ways down. Kid from Utah Valley, who a lot of people are in on, who they have not been in on. And maybe that's their fault. And the other thing is, I do think the more I watch how they're moving, I do not think they were planning to bring anybody in if Julius Marble had stayed. So now what can you do sort of making up time?
Kurt Wisniewski up next. Number 1, Kenneth Walker will be drafted by the Bills in the second round before Breece Hall. 2, Hunter Dickinson will declare and not get drafted. So glorious. And 3, the MSU football 2023 class will have 2 5-star commits, running back and defensive end, by October of 22.
That'll be a big deal. You get 2 5-stars and you got a number of 4-stars, you're having a hell of a class. The Hunter Dickinson thing's weird. Like, first of all,
is it weirder than the way he runs?
We just going to make fun of Hunter Dickinson here because
why not?
I mean, if you
That's
look
what
at
we do on this show.
But if you look at yourself run, I mean, it's
I look like an athlete. He looks like a giraffe.
Okay.
Yeah, I look like I know what I'm doing when I run.
Well, he's coming back for his junior year. He announced about an hour ago his decision to come back, but which obviously makes Michigan a force again. I do think it. So there's 2 arguments to be made with recruiting these sort of behemoth big men. One is we just saw in the NCAA tournament with Purdue, with Iowa a year ago, with Illinois. Like, it doesn't seem like the formula that works, right? They beat each other all year, and they run into teams with quickness and other things, and they can't defend ball screens. And yet, the NBA doesn't want them. So sort of like a Cassius Winston, you get the kid for 3-4 years. Like, there's value in that, too. So I think it's an interesting look at these guys. Dickinson's sort of in this middle ground where I think he's better defensively than some of those other guys. I think I'm real curious to see if he can do enough at the college game to carve out a pro career for himself in the NBA. I don't.
I love the breaking news that Zach Edey was coming back to Purdue.
Yeah, like, where are you going to go?
Yeah, dude. Like, what are you doing? Great announcement. Jason Nick is also coming back to the couch from the Rube Show.
You want to defend me?
Entertaining.
Yo, how many
NBA radio to Sirius XM, but I'm coming back. Like, no one's asking for you, Edey. Stay in shock. Number one, we worry about MSU basketball is because we're nervous. Izzo is going to end his career with one title. Unfair as it is, every season that isn't number 2 is another step closer to retiring with a big group of coaches that only have one title. 2, the Lions should absolutely trade down for more picks. Analytically, defensive end has a minuscule impact on winning, and they need players at too many positions. 3, sweeping a doubleheader seems much harder than it should be. Bonus. There's a better chance Mel Tucker builds a playoff team solely out of Lansing area recruits than Graham scoring on a Big Ten player.
Except Edey. I can score on Edey. I'm telling you.
I would like to see that.
I'm telling you.
He could swat that with his forehead. He's 7'5".
Yeah.
I mean, out of all the guys in the Big Ten, you pick Zach Edey, who's 7'5".
Because he's the only guy who's as slow as me in the Big Ten.
Yeah, but you're going to be playing one-on-one. I mean, it's not like you're going to do a back cut on him.
There's an argument to be said that I wouldn't be able to get far enough away from him to get anything not swatted.
Hook shot.
So you might be onto something there. I think there is a gambling proposition with baseball doubleheaders that we ought to look at. It does seem like with a doubleheader.
This is the guy that bet the Tigers the night after Miggy hit 3K.
Not bright.
And they announced that they were going to party all night.
Yeah, not great. Not great. But it does seem, and I would love to see the numbers on this, that doubleheaders are usually splits. And I wonder if for a whole year you were disciplined enough to only bet the second game of doubleheaders and bet the team that dropped the first game, what that would happen. I'd love to see that.
You lose me at disciplined.
Well, it's no fun.
Right.
But I'm just wondering if it could be lucrative.
It all makes sense,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
We need to break down the numbers. Jarrett, number 1, regardless of Christie, MSU has the best backcourt coming back next year in the country. 2, MSU will do poor in Big Ten play due to lack of size, but roll everyone out of conference because size isn't as important in the NCAA tournament. And 3, the Lions will not make the right pick.
Well, that's not a hot take. That's sort of a...
we know that.
Yeah, I'm worried about
proven.
that.
We've looked at the analytics of that, and they're shit.
Speaking of, just to give you guys a heads up, we're going to do a weird show. Every show's kind of weird. But
no pants? No pant Friday?
No. We're going to do a Saturday morning show this week.
Oh, shit. I forgot I agreed to that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Skyman.
Yeah. Unless you – so our choices were limited. The NFL draft is Thursday night and Friday night. Thursday night is right during our show. We don't want to – we want to have time to have people ask questions and react to that and have some fun with that. And Friday night's right during the second and third round, which are still interesting, and there's stuff that would be outdated right away. So – we're going to drag our asses in here Saturday morning and do our Twitter question show.
Good Lord, like a telethon.
Yeah.
Taking calls for donations.
Something like that. So
Jerry Lewis.
That's going to be
Let's go to the tote board.
So wake up Saturday morning, you put your Premier League soccer on, you make some coffee, and we'll have the Premier League soccer right here in the studio.
Best part of waking up.
Folgers in your cup. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Right up there.
You
would cut that in post because that was a really bad,
the whole episode,
bad moment. No, so the MSU has will do poor in Big Ten play due to lack of size, but roll everyone out of conference because size is as important as the NCAA tourney. It is up to, if Michigan State does not get I think they're going to add a big man, okay? But the question is the quality of that big man. If they do not add somebody who's a real presence, the real key is then playing your best dudes and creating your own advantages. Like if you play Joey Hauser and Malik Hall, there is a way that those two guys should be a problem for opponents. Like Joey Hauser, if he's hitting threes as a 5, and Malik Hall is a 40-some% shooter as a 4, like you ought to be able to create some issues where, yeah, you might have some defensive shortcomings, but other people have issues with you. And that's what MSU is going to have to do next year. And there's zero excuse not to, you know what your roster is at a certain point, and there's zero excuse not to come up to ways to best utilize who you have. And I think a lot of that starts with Hogard being a guy who, in transition, creates a track meet.
Richard Spring up next. Number 1, unless Izzo gets a big man in the portal soon, this team will be average. 2, Tuck is building something special, but it's still going to take a few years to get a solid offensive line. And 3, if we land Xavier Booker, MSU will be back in the Final Four and maybe a title contender in 3 years.
Booker would be a big get, and they're really going hard after him. They've been at just about every event he's done. There's a really good piece in Indy Star on him that mentions Izzo. I think the people in Indianapolis think MSU is in a good place for him. And I think one of the things you have to remember, and look, I'm not trying to give Izzo a pass on shit. I don't. If I come across that way, I apologize. I think part of it is just
my team.
But so say they land a couple real studs in 2023, dudes in 2023, and all of a sudden that looks like an amazing class. I mean, shit happens from time to time. You have transfer leave, you have something go wrong, and next year is just a good team, an okay team. Like that's gonna. I mean, I think the real question and what's most important is the trajectory of the program, not necessarily year to year. I mean, year to year is important. But what most people are scared about is the program falling off. And if he's able to land a 2023 class that's top tier, then to me that quelches that, right? I mean, just because some shit happened that affected this year and there's still the lingering effects of the 2018 class that wasn't great and how things have developed, whatever. But I think that's almost more important. Maybe that's a column I should write.
Rivalry trophy. Number 1, Joey Hauser's plan for the offseason. A, change name to Joe. B, grow a goatee. C, barbed wire tattoo or at least one arm. 2, baseball game late postponements should mean refunded parking costs for fans. And 3, soft parade is the most dangerous beer ever made. Tread lightly.
It's a good beer. Okay. Well, I do agree with you on baseball. Late postponements drive me nuts in baseball. First of all, if you built and I understand most of Comerica was built in the 90s. This was pointed out to me. But if you build your stadium after 2000, there are lots of cool, interesting buildings that also have roofs. And there are a lot of rainouts. You should have a retractable roof at this point. It's inexcusable otherwise. But and so, treat your fans right. If you were Joey Hauser, you wanted to change. I mean,
change it to Jay.
Jay Hauser.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Jay House, yeah.
Jay Hauser.
Yeah.
I do
it's
think
like Harry. Harry calls me Jay.
I do think I don't know if a goatee would look great on him. I do think
he needs to go full beard.
Yeah, I agree.
That's possible.
And the tattoo on the top of the head with fully shaved would really.
He's not going to prison. He's playing Big Ten basketball.
Right, but you want to have the perception that you're headed. You want to be the prison guy. You want to have that look.
But then you have to have a head tattoo for the rest of your life.
I mean, here's the deal. When I show up on a Gus Macker court and somebody's got a full beard and a head tattoo, I've already lost the game. I haven't even played them yet.
So then you score 14 points in a pickup basketball game and still have a tattoo on your head.
That's a good point.
Great. Offensive coordinator. Number 1, I would like to know if Jason thinks Hauser will continue to perform well next year, or is this fool's gold? 2, last comment about Danton. He led State to victory over much better teams and in some ways was a good coach with a weak program and shit recruiters. 3, I don't trust anyone who lists sexual intercourse as a hobby on their bio, not even when it's Mike Pence. And bonus, it's time to confront Jason regarding his personal hygiene issues.
I don't know where.
Dude, I'm good.
Yeah?
I know I'm good.
Do you know offensive
teeth.
coordinator here is this person?
No. I know they're full of shit, dude. I keep myself clean. I take a shower at least once a day.
I can tell you're actually offended
brush
by
my
it.
teeth. I'm not offended. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If you want to confront me about a ton of other things, sure. Personal hygiene, I'm good.
I do think, the first question was on Hauser. Do you think Hauser will
don't
perform
dribble.
well?
Just shoot.
Yeah.
Goatee. Beard. Don't dribble. Call yourself Jay Hauser and just shoot.
I think you can dribble a little, but not in the
10
traffic.
dribbles all season.
Yeah, bring the ball up, maybe push the ball.
Klay Thompson, baby.
Move the ball, but yeah, don't over dribble. The Dan Cole thing is interesting because I do think, I talked to a lot of different people in the hockey world who know the sport a lot better than me when I was doing, the first column on him and then the other column after they let him go. And a lot of people said, as a hockey mind, he's like top 20%, top 25% of college coaches, like really good hockey mind. Like he'll out-coach people. And I think he just left too much of the recruiting probably to Joe Exter, who was going to be like, I just think the recruiting didn't, and he wasn't the guy to reinvigorate a program that had fallen a long way. I think as a hockey mind, he's a really savvy, good coach who can out-coach some people, but you got to have some parts to do that, and he wasn't able to get them.
Matt Drolet, number one, the 17-year-old posting his top 10 or 5 schools is not news, and retweeting it as if it is crappy reporting. I'm looking at you, Spartan Mag. 2, Wimbledon banning Russian players is pandering, intolerant, and helps nothing when it comes to the war. 3, back-in Parkers are ass.
Appreciate you, Matt. These are good.
I love Matt Drolet. Someone in our life is a back-in Parker. They back in everywhere they go. Take a guess.
Therese?
No, Jesus.
Therese's dad?
Rico Beard.
Oh, Rico Beard.
Rico Beard. That's when we had a conversation on Spartan Beat, because I feel like if you just go to a Quality Dairy, you could just back in.
Why does he back in everywhere?
I don't know.
I mean, I
Makes
understand.
you feel important.
There are times to back in. Like if you're going to an event that the main place for that, like at Wharton Center at Michigan State, is in a parking garage and everybody's getting out at the same time, back in because it's so much easier to get out. I get that. There's a time and place for it.
Sure.
But at QD, you just back right out. When you pull in, back out. It's easy.
Common sense.
Yeah, I don't
Just saying.
I don't get it. I am totally with you on. I wish we'd just start. I don't want to shame 17-year-olds, but if we all agreed to do it, they would stop doing this. If you have a top 10, you really got nothing. You haven't narrowed it down. I mean,
17-year-olds give a shit about what us old people think.
Enough people shame them. Yeah, these kids are soft. Yeah,
They
absolutely.
are. Scary. Gavin Haas, who's not soft. Number 1, Tigers, back. 2, draft week, back. 3, Detroit sports after Thursday, back.
Gavin, bringing it. I don't know if the Tigers are back. I wonder if he wrote this like right after Miggy. But the thing that sucks about the Tigers right now is I don't think they've taken any missteps. I don't think what they're building is any more off course. I'm still excited about where this is going. I just was hopeful that this summer would be part of that excitement. I'm a little worried it's not going to be. That's all. That's all it is, right? I mean, it's
the injuries. Got to get through some of that stuff. Figure out the pitching staff. But John up next. Number 1, Graham provides conflicting soccer takes. On one hand, Graham says you shouldn't pick a distant English Premier League team, but he also sends out occasional snarky takes about DCFC.
Detroit City FC. Yep.
Well, whatever. Pick a side, Graham. 2, good recruiting and draft article by Graham. And 3, the first 3 Lions draft picks should be defense.
I just want them to take the best possible player at the first, but I think it will be defense. Right?
When did this article drop? Today?
It was the one it was this what day is it? Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah, went up last night or early this morning on just
Shit. All right.
yeah.
Read it.
So to point number 1 though. I get that they're distant, but to me, if you live in Lansing, Detroit City FC, I mean, my problem with Detroit City FC has nothing to do with actually Detroit City FC in theory. Like they are people don't know they're a soccer team that is
Hooligans.
But they've done it correct in terms of the ownership and the fan involvement. In a lot of ways, they've done things very well in terms of building a brand. My issue is the smugness of their fan base at times, a little lack of humility. Wow. I think there are a lot of people there who like the smoke in the crowd and the atmosphere who don't know shit about soccer. Maybe that a little bit drives me nuts. They act like they've got this massive fan base, but the reality is if you have the Detroit motherfucking market, by the way, which is like 8 times Lansing, your crowd ought to be pretty big.
We're dropping MFers now?
There are a lot of things that should be, your community involvement Twitter bio ought to have more than like 100 followers. I'm sorry, I don't mean to rip it. I like Detroit City FC. I just they're anti-MLS. We're better than everybody. Shtick drives me batshit, and that's all it is. And forever they were like, we would never join the USL, and now they're in the fucking USL. Whatever it is. And look, I wouldn't knock them for doing that either if they said it wasn't so evil to be part of before. The bigger thing is, I don't think you can see the soccer through all that smoke in the crowd. I don't think their fan base are diehard soccer fans. I think they want to be part of something. Nothing wrong with that, but just don't act like you're smarter than everybody. That's what it is. It's the acting like you're smarter than everybody that drives us batshit, because you're just not. You're just not smarter than everybody. Okay.
Mojo Jojo. Number 1, April in the D is an underrated part of Motor City sports history. Cue the music, Jason. Maybe. 2, Christie leaving is as perplexing for the fan base as it is a genuine bummer that's hard to get past. And 3, Sports Bra Graham will be a key Twitter follow next basketball season.
I'm worried about sports. I was worried about that.
Oh, wait. Hold on a second. I don't know what happened. I got it canceled. Ow.
What'd you do?
I don't know. I was trying to play this terrible song. I think they don't want me to play it.
Okay.
Wait.
Have you been dreaming of playoff runs and a brand new season? The
Oh my God,
on the prowl again, and Auburn Hills, the Palace Prince. The Stanley Cup is ours to win. This could only happen. April.
Okay.
It's up there with Proud to Be an American in terms of bad
it
tunes.
absolutely takes Proud to Be American and kicks it off the fucking pedestal of worst songs ever created on the earth of the planet.
And again, just so people know, it's not the lyrics of Proud to Be American, it's the melody, which is just truly.
Graham still
truly
loves
dreadful.
America.
It's just truly dreadful.
Good luck, Joes.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about next year, though.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet.
Oh, in terms of a Twitter thing?
I mean, there was
I hope people forget about it.
Graham Bayless.
I do think that's also the thing about Max Christie. I do think people are a little bummed about it because it was sort of assumed that he would be a big part of next things, and now he's gone, and so it just adds to this. I understand that vibe too.
Spartan 18770. Number 1, congrats to Miggy on his 3,000th hit. Now it's time for the Tigers to part ways with him after the season. 2, the Michigan State and Michigan football game should always be played as each other's first Big Ten game. And 3, Michigan State football will have 4 first-team All-Big Ten players next year.
Well, if that's the case, they've had one hell of a year because that's a lot of. I mean, I guess you got offense and defense, and so, but that's a pretty good showing. And who would that be? I guess it could be certainly a Jaden Reed. I think you have a chance there. Can Peyton Thorne with compete with Stroud for that sort of thing on defense? Where is that player? There's a chance. There's a couple guys who are interesting there. So that's a heck of a prediction. But these are hot takes. I disagree with number 2. The Michigan State football game should always be played as each other's first Big Ten game. If you play that game in like September 24th, one of the teams feels great, but might lose the next week because they feel too good. The other team feels like crap. There's no crescendo, man. You got to have a crescendo, I think. It would be fun early, but it just I like the season. I like Halloween weekend. I think it's not at the end, but it's
How
8
about
weeks
1
in.
year? Can we try it 1 year?
See what it's like?
Where it's in like decent weather. I like the October feel sometimes, but I wouldn't mind trying it one time.
They've had a couple. They've had they've been mid-October. That's happened before. But yeah, mid-October is not awful either. Leading off would be. I mean, for somebody, it changes the vibe of their season real quick. It's kind of all or nothing.
Jay Riemenschneider, number 1. Graham, you always talk about fans only knowing about their team's happenings. Well, I know, even as a Michigan fan, I keep up with lots of goings-on at lots of schools, and I think there are more people out there that do that like me and know what's going on elsewhere. 2, Michigan football fans are about as nervous as MSU basketball fans when it comes to recruiting. In Michigan's case, it's specific high-end recruits, including Lloyd Carr's grandson, trending elsewhere right now, even after a college football playoff, but they'll still find a way to be around a top 10 class again anyway. And 3, you bring up Miguel Cabrera and how he compares against the best. Well, I actually crunched the number a few years ago, looked at his best 10-year run for the best hitters from 90 to 2015, and Albert Pujols was probably the best. Miggy was up there and most probably wouldn't believe how good Manny Ramirez and Vladimir Guerrero were.
I would believe you on Manny and Vlad at their.
Vlad is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And Manny probably he should be.
Yeah, but you're probably right on. Pujols for a decade was pretty
more than that.
Yeah, he was pretty amazing.
Crazy numbers.
Yeah, and to your first 2 points sort of together here, I mean, you might be right that more people do pay attention. I don't think you pay as intensely attention, but I'll give you an example. Like I pay attention to Michigan a fair bit because they're Michigan State's main rival. They're in the state. I pay attention to a lot of Big Ten things, but Michigan would be next after Michigan State, which is the team I cover most. But I don't know, like this whole idea that Michigan fans are nervous as MSU basketball fans when it comes to recruiting is interesting. Like I don't sense that. I don't know that, and I don't pay close enough attention to do that. And that may be because our interaction here is primarily Michigan State fans, so I don't hear it. That's interesting. I wonder if Michigan State fans know that. Like, do you hear that from your Michigan friends that they're really nervous about football recruiting?
No, not even one word of it.
Okay,
they're just used to having decent recruiting classes, I guess.
Yeah, no question.
Molon Lobby Spartan. Number 1, Graham. Great article on football recruiting and the draft. I mostly agree with you, but I do believe if MSU aspires to challenge Ohio State consistently and national big dogs, they have to collect 4 stars and occasionally get a 5. This is the Bama, Georgia, Clemson formula.
No, I think you're right. I mean, and ultimately that would be reflected in the draft then as well. If they're getting those guys, they're going to have more draft picks. I just think the draft is because the draft better accounts for the diamonds in the rough, the Le'Veon Bells, the Darqueze Denards, the Jack Conklins, a lot of the Michigan State's best players of the previous era, best NFL draft picks, were not guys who were all that heralded. So it also accounts for that. But no, I'm totally with you. And Mullen Lobby, apologies if you had a second and third hot take. I do not see them here. Let's do one more and then take a break.
Michael Branton, number 1, Mel Tucker is going after mainly 4-star and above recruits. How many of these have to commit for 2023 in order to say he's been successful?
What did we put the over on? 7? We said 7, I think, this year would be a good year.
Yes.
You get to 7 4-star kids, 4-star or above, and now you get 5 5-stars and no 4-stars. We're probably happy with
whatever
it too.
combo you want to do to get there, I guess.
But 7 4-stars, I think, in this year would be a pretty good track forward. Let's take a really quick break here. Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis and our friends Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management.
Where else can you cheer on your team, enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi, sip on handcrafted cocktails, or one of 46 beers on tap? Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with 1 awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Wherever you are on your cannabis journey, let Skymint Premium Cannabis be your guide, your friend, and your place. Whether you're curious about cannabis or a seasoned connoisseur, Skymint's knowledgeable staff will help you with a vast selection of products to choose from to fit your needs. Skymint believes access to the best cannabis helps people do good and feel good, so they grow it right here in Michigan, giving you high-quality, locally grown cannabis at highly accessible prices. Visit skymint.com for special offers and location information throughout Michigan, and use the promo code CouchAndRube20 for 20% off your first visit. Skymint Cannabis, you'll love this place. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com. If you're looking for a relaxed vibe, great food, and an outstanding beer selection, Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing is your place. Enjoy their famed chicken and waffle fries, fish and chips, or any of their delicious burgers or salads. Midtown Brewing Company also offers 40-plus beers on tap, including ciders and seasonal offerings and daily happy hour specials. The spacious and cozy vibe makes Midtown Brewing Company a perfect place for a beer with a friend, a work lunch, or to watch the games on its big screen TVs. If you'd rather eat at home, Midtown Brewing Company offers a terrific carryout menu and free delivery on orders of $20 or more. Visit MidtownBrewingCompany.net or stop by 402 South Washington in downtown Lansing for the Midtown Brewing Company experience.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite, Podcast Addict.
Four-letter word just to get me along. It's a difficulty and I'm biting on my tongue.
Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis. And Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management here for your investment needs, investment questions, wanting to get your money working for you. Jason, I'm going to have a question about Skymint. Tell people when they walk into a Skymint, what they can expect.
A good time, clean environment, and helpful people. Guess what, Graham? There's no dumb questions at Skymint.
That's the key.
That's the best part. It's what I love the most. Now, I try not to ask too many because I know that can be tiring.
How many questions? What's your average number of questions, your record number of questions?
I'm pretty good
Skymint?
now.
Yeah.
Really, there's not many. It's like, do you have this or do you have that? Since I'm the Joe Ingles of weed, I feel if I keep coming in and going, remember the time when we got high, like Chris Farley back in the day?
But if you want, pain management, if you need energy, if you want sleep, whatever, they will help. They will guide you through and however you want it, whether you want, pre-rolls, whether you want
topical stuff that you can put on injuries.
Absolutely.
You don't have to get high if you don't want to. If you want pain to go away, there's topical stuff for that too.
Edibles, everything. Lots of good options at Skymint. All right, let's dig back into these hot takes.
Sunshine Spartan. Number one, when one listens to your podcast while mowing the lawn, it makes it the best lawn in the neighborhood.
Appreciate you, Sunshine.
2, best concert I've ever been to is Garth Brooks 3.
Sorry, that might have been 3 and then 3. Sorry, the third
like
take.
Chris Gaines?
No, the third take.
Oh, 3.
There's an editing mistake by me.
New Garth Brooks. 3, Miguel Cabrera will not finish his career in Detroit.
Whoa, that is a hot take. I've always wanted to go to a Garth Brooks concert. I like Garth Brooks.
I do. I just don't know if I could handle a concert.
Yeah.
He's really dramatic.
He's very dramatic. Did you see that documentary?
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of crying.
Dude,
too much.
It was bizarre. I'm not a big Garth Brooks fan. I respect him and stuff, but I mean, yeah, dude.
This was like A&E or Bravo, wherever it was. But it was like this thing where the first time somebody breaks down, you're like, wow, this is a real emotional scene. But when they break down in every scene, you're like, oh, wait a second. Right. This is just who the fuck he is. This is awful. And
talks about Thunder Road and shit. He's just dropping tears. Like,
yeah.
All right, man.
What are we doing here? It's, yeah.
But are we surprised the guy that changed his whole persona to Chris Gaines that absolutely flopped? Maybe worse than the Magic Johnson hour. I feel like the Chris Gaines, Garth Brooks experiment was worse than Magic Johnson.
But they argued that he was just ahead of his time, that it was really quality stuff.
His manager said that?
No, he's
Garth Brooks fans.
I think somebody said it. I don't remember.
Sure, he said it while crying.
So Miguel Cabrera will not finish his career in Detroit. Here's why I think this is incorrect. Because nobody after his contract, Detroit's not trading him. And once his contract is over, once he's done making just gobs of money, nobody's going to pay him a big contract again. And I don't think he'll keep playing. I just don't. So I would really be stunned if he. I don't
He's not
think
chasing anything.
Yeah, right. What's there left to do? I don't think he'll be somebody who's signing for $2.5 million a year just because he wants to stay in the game. You never know. But I don't see that.
G.E. Miller, number one, if, quote, the draft the best player is right, the Lions should take Kenneth Walker in round 2 if still available. That's hot. 2, there's lots of talk of MSU adding more guys via portal post-spring ball, but by my count, they have one spot left. And 3, name, image, and likeness sponsored commitments are gross and will ruin college sports. Agreed.
Yeah, okay. The commitment, I don't know that they're – I just wish they were legitimate. Like, if you were a big deal recruit and you're a business in that town and you think, boy, if this guy's here, that would be really cool if he endorsed us. Like, if that would be a good thing for our business, then it would be okay if it was actually pure. But it's not. It's just fan boosters with gobs of money paying for this.
That want to be cool. They
Yeah,
want to be
yeah.
in the locker room and
Yeah.
on the field.
It's and I think
Now
you're
we're just opening the door for it.
I do think you're right on the point. It'll depend on who leaves. Now, May 1st is the deadline, really, so we're going to know a lot of that stuff real quick about if anybody else is out the door with Michigan State. And you know, at this point, maybe there won't be anybody else. The draft the best player to me is what you do mostly in round one when there's an elite dude. I think beyond that, the guys are so similar that you're drafting a little more need. Like, I don't think they need Kenneth Walker. And so that would, to me, not be the fit for them in round two. You agree?
Totally.
Okay.
That was a hot take.
Yeah.
Go green. Number one, it doesn't matter who the Lions draft. They could have a Hall of Fame career, and the Lions won't go anywhere. Stafford and Johnson. 2, Tiger fans shouldn't stress the losing right now. You can clearly see the impact on the young players. And 3, in 5 years, Kenneth Walker is the best in the draft.
In that case, the Lions should take him. Absolutely.
I don't see him being the best running back. Sure.
Best player,
I can see
doubt.
that. running backs don't last that long.
I mean,
guys that are amazing. Like, look at, speaking of Le'Veon Bell, his NFL career, and then all of a sudden he can't even hang on a Baltimore Ravens team.
I do think for Kenneth Walker and any running back, going in round 2 is better than round 1 because that extra year they have your control over isn't great, and your career is so short that, like, if you can be out of your rookie contract after year 4, you have a chance at some decent money beyond that. And if you're smart, not like Le'Veon, and you hold on a little bit, or you don't hold out, and you're willing to take look what Derrick Henry did in Tennessee, right? Reasonable contract for the best running back in the game at that point. And I think after what happened in Dallas, I just don't think you're going to see the mega bucks for a running back ever again.
You have to be like Derrick Henry, like 6'5".
But even he took a lesser. His deal isn't like exorbitant. You know what I mean? He didn't fleece them for everything he could and hold out. And
the running back market's really bad right now.
Right, but you got to read it. Le'Veon lost lots of money because he didn't read the market. He didn't really understand what was out there. He either got bad advice or he didn't listen to the advice.
Bo McJunkins. Number 1, Jake Boss's program is effing terrible. The pitchers are hitting batters more than Rube hits Skymint. 2, Elijah Collins will have more carries than Davion Prim in the fall. And 3, Hutchinson will have less than 4 sacks this year. Overrated.
You know what I don't like about Aiden Hutchinson is
his face.
No, I didn't say that. But in terms of a prospect,
stupid-looking face.
You just did.
Shit.
He's got a stupid-looking face.
No,
again, twice. Jesus.
Fix that post, please.
He's got a stupid-looking face.
I keep hearing the word about highest floor. Like at the number 1 pick, I also want high ceiling.
The highest floor is the ceiling, according to Michael Jordan.
What the hell that means? Like I don't want to hear anything about the floor. I want you want a guy.
Can I say something though? My Michigan buddy did send me a tweet because he was throwing Hutchinson. That is the first pitch at a Tigers game, and our first thought was, because we had the same thoughts. Like, I don't know, does he really look like an NFL guy? Like, he was in a t-shirt and jeans, and just like he didn't appear to be imposing. I don't know if you're just looking too deep into it, but you know what I mean? If a guy's number 1 overall, like Myles Garrett, like that dude, absolutely yoked.
Right. No, I know what you mean. To a couple other points here, Jake Moss's program. Look, the baseball program at Michigan State is struggling, and I think one of the things that's going to have to be evaluated there, and I think one of the things I've talked to Alan Haller about at times is, like, he's evaluating, are enough resources being put in there? And if not, that's one of his major goals. He wants every program to have the resources to compete to win, and so he can have those expectations. And that's something that's, I think, being evaluated across the board right now. I root for Elijah Collins as a kid. I don't know. I've always liked Elijah Collins. I think he's a nice kid. I think he's had a rough go here with COVID, which was hard. You know, he really struggled with it. Not just like struggled with the isolation. Like when he had COVID, it messed with him quite a bit. And he's stuck around the program. He's been a heck of a teammate. I don't.
I like that he took his nameplate off and everybody was freaking out, thought he was gone.
It was a renovation. Yeah.
I got to say, though, I can understand why people thought that.
Absolutely.
If you don't know there's renovations.
No. But I love that
he's taking his nameplate
and
say it's been real.
But he knew it. He knew he was messing with people.
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's funny. I mean, and another guy from Cassius Winston School. They produced a lot of, nice kids, it seems. I hope he has some meaningful parts of his career left. And what's interesting is they still like having him in the program. He's not somebody they've tried to run out of the program or anything. They like having him in the room. They like his leadership. And so at the very least, he's going to leave with a quality education and a program that likes him and be a guy that I think is well liked by fans.
But back to number one real quick. I mean, pitchers are hitting batters because they can't feel their hands in the cold. Is that maybe what's happening? Guys are playing in 30-degree weather, you know? It's like,
well, it's true they shouldn't be playing so early. But
is that maybe the reason why they're hitting guys? I don't know.
Are they hitting him more than others? I don't know.
Ryan Schultz up next. Number one, if Max Christie goes pro after a 28% three-point shooting Big Ten season, I will actively root against his success. When it's the right time for our guys to go, like Jaren Jackson or Le'Veon Bell, I fully want what's best for them. I think Max is acting the fool. 2, being a Purdue fan under Matt Painter must be ass. All those good teams and only one Elite Eight to show for it. What a waste of everybody's time. That's the way to put it. 3, Graham Couch would look at Zach Edey and go, lunch.
I would be arrogant. The problem with my whole shtick about pickup basketball is as I get a little bit older, the last 2-3 years have been tough. Like I'm starting to realize I'm slowing down, and so I don't.
Wow, Graham Couch behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I could lose some weight and that would help. Look, I understand why people are frustrated with Max Christie too, because I am somebody who, when I see people who aren't making what looks like a logical decision, I get frustrated. I'm like, I don't get that. What are you doing? And so,
but it's not logical for you, or when you're thinking about it in basketball terms. Again, you know what you don't know what a player's thinking. I don't mind checking out, testing the waters if you're not happy here.
Totally, and people should do what they want to do. And I certainly won't root against Max Christie. I'd like to see him, have a good pro career. I'd like to see
what
this
you want
work
to do,
out.
but there has to be some sort of rules. I mean, you can't just not come into a situation and not like something and go, all right, I'm out of here.
Well, a lot of people do that. Why not?
Because it's not a.
How many jobs have you left because you thought I don't like this?
On the first day?
Yeah.
2.
Okay, there you go. So
I'm fucking out of here, dude. Terrible jobs. Chatty Spartan. Number 1, AJ is captain with Malik next year. 2, new prime drinks are way better than Gatorade. And 3, Lansing needs way more breweries to be successful.
Does Lansing need more breweries to be successful?
I don't know.
Or does Lansing need more breweries for Lansing to be successful? I'm trying to figure out. I don't know that Kalamazoo has 1 million breweries.
There's a lot of breweries, though, here.
Yeah. But, no, it's hot takes. I do think this is going to be A.J. Hogarth's team in a lot of ways, and Malik will probably be a captain again, and you're looking at those two guys. I think that's probably a good call.
Ken Chu. Number 1, hard to beat finishing on a beautiful day listening to the Tigers, or fishing on a beautiful day listening to the Tigers. That's hot in here. 2, many take Max Christie's development into a great player for MSU if he returns as a given, but consider everyone else to only be that they be who they were last season. Jesus. 3, thank God they're fixing the audio in Spartan Stadium.
Yeah, this is something, I talked to Alan Haller about the audio last year. I swear I put it in a story I did on him, or maybe it was on something separate. Maybe I didn't even use it. I should have, because I'm sure it was in there. They were very aware of it, and it was like a $1.6 million. It was something. It was an expensive
$1.6 million for audio.
Something went wrong, and there was a couple different things. But yeah, it was a fix that they were in the process of making sure they had the money to do and have right. But they were very aware that it was an issue last year. Number 2 for Ken Chu. Sorry, many take Max Christie development and a great player for MSU as a given, but consider everyone else returning to only be who they are. I think this is an important thing. I don't know that everybody takes it as a given, but I do think a lot of people look at this Michigan State team next year and picture the players as they were last year, and that's just not what happens in college basketball. If it is, then you got a shit coaching staff, and you got a team that's not going to be very good. But the idea of growth from year to the next is that there are some guys who take significant strides, and I'm banking on that, or my ass is going to be in a sports bro.
Bill, up next. Number 1, Mel Tucker will have a better team than D'Antonio when they make the Final Four. 2, Izzo will get another natty. And 3, 22-23 MSU basketball reaches the Sweet 16 to calm fears.
What's interesting, I think the biggest thing they need to calm fears is that 2023 class. That's going to create an interesting dynamic. If they get Xavier Booker and say they get another guy and you got Jeremy Fears Jr. coming in, it's like, oh, they got like a top 5 class coming in the following year. And people feel like the trajectory of the program is in the right direction. And a lot of those guys from next year may still be around. Some won't, some will. But I think people that will calm it. I think right now the biggest thing for people is this idea that the program is going to fall off and end poorly for Izzo and all that stuff. And so you have a big recruiting class, then that would do a lot of that for it.
Clint Bainey, number one, the reason why the 3,000 hit club will dry up after Cabrera is simple money. These future players will not play 20 years anymore. They'll take their money and play 10 to 15 years tops and then bolt. 2, Italian dressing is the only way to marinate your steaks. Let those suckers soak for 24 hours and throw them on the Weber grill. Charcoal, of course. 3, MSU's use of tight ends this fall will be a major driver in our success on the gridiron. Bonus take, a 2-ball Bainey pet peeve. People who say, we are in this together, are not in this together. You are a complete dipshit.
I don't know where specific spot in your life that is, but I appreciate the pet peeve. I do think the tight ends part is going to be something that's going to be a real strength. And it's not that they didn't have decent tight ends last year, because Connor Hayward gave them, he gave them sort of a different type of tight end, and Tyler Hunt was serviceable, and Malik Hall came on and was interesting. But I think that could be a real strength and a really important position. And just an add, I think their passing attack could be absolutely outstanding if they can protect, and that's really the question. Interesting stuff on Cabrera though on the 3,000 hit club.
Are the "we are in this together" people any worse than the "be better" Twitter people that tell you to be better? I hate those people.
Has anybody ever told you to be better?
No, they know better. I'll hunt them down. I don't know. South of Munn. Number one, the decision to combine Twitter questions by topic during the Thursday shows is nothing short of brilliant. 2, Malik Willis is Andre Ware 2.0. I'm just waiting for Cocaine Wayne to proclaim, as he did about Andre Ware, that Willis can throw a ball 70 yards from his knees. 3, parents who yell at the ref at their kids' soccer games are fuckholes. Your kid sucks balls and he's 10. Ease up. How do they find referees to do this shit?
Well, because
you coached a young soccer team without having a child on it, so you know.
And I've reffed when I was in college. I reffed,
but that was a long time ago. I know there's crazy parents, but I think they're crazier now.
Parents were pretty bad back then. But first of all, if you're decent at your job and you look competent, the problem is a lot of people who do that stuff. I'll give you the example. This is a great example of it. So I did mostly. I reffed or umpired mostly like 14 and under girls softball, and was pretty good at it, and didn't deal with a lot of shit every once in a while. But I was I knew I was good at it, and when other umpires were worse than me, so I didn't get a whole lot of shit. When I reffed basketball 7th and 8th grade in Holt and Delhi Township when I was in college, and this is when I went like 18 years old at Lansing Community College. Like, it's my 5th job I'm doing. And I was horrible. I didn't really know how to deal with it. You could call a travel and a carry on every possession. Like, when are you going to do it? You don't want to ruin the game for the kids, but you're trying to find consistency, and parents are mad at you. Like, basically, you're either going to get young people or people don't have any other types of job. It sucks, man.
But I'm saying, when you get yelled at by parents like 2 weekends in a row of reffing, I would just be like, yeah, I'm not. The money can't be that great to where you're like, yeah, I'll do this.
It was pretty good at 18, and I was combative enough to enjoy it. Like, that was the thing. I enjoyed getting back in your face. You got to have somebody who's a little.
Let's go, Karen.
Well, I wouldn't say it like that. I used a line. Okay, here's a story worth telling, presented by Midtown Brewing Company, 402 South Washington Avenue.
Pressure. Ooh.
It's probably not worth telling, but I'm going to tell it anyway. So I in the middle of that season, umpiring girls softball, they asked me to do the city tournament, 12 and under, and all year long, most of the time, you have 2 umpires with you. I had never done the 12 and maybe not that summer. I hadn't done the 12 and unders at all. And they put me on the biggest tournament of the year, and it's just me. And some parent is bitching about a call or something, saying they're going to call Tony downtown in Lansing Parks and Rec.
Tony?
Yeah. And I used a line from A Few Good Men because There's that part where Tom Cruise is talking to Demi Moore, and she's going to talk to his supervisor, and he's out like on the softball diamond just swinging a bat or whatever, and he's like, basically, look at how old I am. Look at this position I'm at. Somebody downtown thinks I'm a pretty good lawyer, like that. So that's what I basically said. How many people do you usually see here? Okay.
You showed her.
Yeah.
How many still get Tony, though?
How many umpires do you usually have? 2. How many are here? 1. Have you ever seen me before? No. Is this a city tournament? Yeah. Somebody downtown thinks I'm a pretty good umpire. Go ahead and call Tony. That's what I did at 18 years old.
Lots of dialogue for an 18-year-old.
I was a punk ass. Yeah. So that is a story not worth telling, but I told it anyway. Presented by Midtown Brewing Company, 402 South Washington Avenue in downtown Lansing. Write it down. There's another one here I kind of liked, but the Twitter questions. We appreciate it. We try to make the show better when we can, and combining Twitter questions on topics.
When we can.
Well, tonight.
We try to make it better when we can, on our terms.
Correct.
Yeah. Where are we at? Professor. Being an adult sucks. Beautiful Saturday equals yard work. 2, Miggy's an amazing talent. Still a kick in the balls. He never won a World Series in Detroit yet. 3, Cade being left off some voters' Rookie of the Year ballots invalidates the award. Did the voters stop watching the NBA at Christmas?
Were you upset by Cade Cunningham not getting a Rookie of the Year consideration?
I didn't see enough of Scotty Barnes, so I was going to ask you when I saw that he won this award, because I don't know why Cade wouldn't be the leading. I mean, did Scotty Barnes have a great season? I got to say, I didn't watch a Scotty Barnes game all year.
So that's the problem for me. Is as much as I want to be annoyed because I think Cade Cunningham was deserving in a lot of years, I didn't see enough of the other guys, especially Scotty Barnes. I saw a little more Mobley.
But I heard it was because he was on a playoff team is why he ended up winning the award.
But if you contribute to winning, I think that's part of, I understand that a lot of years that hasn't mattered because all the top candidates haven't been.
It should matter that you're on a winning team, right?
Yeah, and
they should take that into account, but they don't for the MVP.
They usually, they do. If you're on a losing team because you average 27 a game and you're on a shit team, nobody's.
Well, a shit team. I'm saying if you're just a fringe playoff team.
Right.
Should you still be in the running for the MVP?
But the MVP encompasses all the players. The Rookie of the Year is just rookies. And a lot of years, there aren't rookies who are on good teams because they were all drafted high, right? And this year, there just happen to be a couple who are on playoff teams. Cade probably is, if you asked other GMs who would they rather have, I don't know. I'd probably Cade Cunningham, to be honest. Mobley, I think, would be the second. Scotty Barnes would be third. But that's not what the award is either. So I claim ignorance because I'm trying, again, I don't know enough about, I do not watch Toronto Raptors basketball during the year.
Ron Quixote, number 1, Rookie of the Year voting is ass. If you asked any GM if they'd rather have Barnes or Cade, 100% would say Cade. 2, even though he didn't play well, seeing Tillman start a playoff game with Jaren Jackson Jr. was so cool. And 3, Yankee fans suck.
It is interesting to watch Tillman and Jaren Jackson Jr. do their thing together. I think it's, it speaks to the heyday of the program. Just a few. I'm not sure the program's completely out of it, but that was a pretty good run they had, and they didn't get a title out of it. But in terms of talent and guys that developed, and I think what's fun about Tillman and Jaren Jackson Jr. is how close they are, how much Jaren Jackson looks up to Tillman, and which is interesting. I don't know. I just think they're an interesting pair, and we'll get into the Yankees fans in a second.
Kevin from Rochester Hills. Number 1, Cabrera was a waste of talent in Detroit. 2, Yankee fans are douchebags. 3, if the Tigers don't get healthy, they will end up 30 games below 500.
That would be depressing because 30 games below 500 is what, 67 and something, 66 wins or something like that. That will be depressing. And if they do that, we need to bet against them and make
That's
a lot of money.
Of pick the stick contests. Jesus. When you say the number like that.
Yeah, Cabrera, I don't think it was a waste. It sucks that they didn't win a title.
Right. And it was still fun, the early, 2010 and all that stuff.
And there's one year that I blame him a little bit. The year he got drunk and they had to play an extra game and then they lost to the Twins even though he was great in that game. But yeah, there's no.
You know what bothers me is that some people were, bringing that up. Can the guy just hit 3,000 hits? We know that he had a whole nother family and all that stuff. But really, we're flawed. We're flawed human beings. And can you just wait maybe a week and then come out with some article or whatever you want to put out there? But
yeah, let yesterday be yesterday. Enjoy that day. Enjoy that day, and
treat everyone like Tiger Woods, where we just don't think anything other than he's the greatest.
It is kind of weird how we have different standards for Tiger Woods than any other
Absolutely
athlete.
bizarre.
Yeah.
I get it, but it's weird. Carl Mylock. The Yankees have the trashiest fans in all of sports. 2, ESPN has become near unwatchable because of 90% of its coverage is NFL, NBA related. And 3, Raccoon Graham is a term that should be added to the Urban Dictionary.
Just a picture of me or explanation of somebody who's had some
we
Sky
need the
Mint.
Raccoon Graham, like the picture of your face on a raccoon.
And somebody who's had a little Sky Mint and then partakes in rummaging around the kitchen. Did you see the Yankees thing?
I did. Miles Straw trying to jump into these stands with some of the Yankee fans. I mean, are we surprised though?
No.
I mean, Yankees fans on a weekend.
You talk about smug fans. I was talking about earlier with Detroit City FC and stuff. You talk about fans who think they're just above it.
I know, but I've always viewed Yankee fan, like when someone tells me they're a Yankee fan, I'm like, all right. It doesn't bother me. It just feels like it's anything that you can just say, okay, I'm a Yankees guy. I mean, diehards or whatever. It just doesn't seem like it's a real thing that they have fans.
Okay.
Yeah. Andrew Gauthier. Number 1, complaining about a non-humid day in the mid to high 70s is ass, Graham. It's top 5 worst takes of all time. 2, the Gypsy King announcing his retirement post-fight was the worst thing that could have happened to the dying sport. And 3, trying to coordinate schedules with other working adults is ass.
So, okay, it was not in the mid-70s. It was in the mid-80s. Today was 100% humidity.
We finally have
in the
a nice
mid-80s.
day, and you have to do that hacky tweet about you don't like sweating or something. Like just
a build-up. Just give us a spring. Just give me
Why?
65 for a while.
No.
Coach K weighing in. I love it.
I need it warm out. I'm cold. The gluten weasel. Number 1, people who protest by rushing the floor are annoying. Can you just hand out pamphlets in the parking lot like a normal zealot? 2, cold weather after an 80-degree Saturday is the cruelest prank Chris Eastlick ever pulled. And 3, Miggy is Detroit's greatest living sports figure.
Okay, is he the greatest? No.
Iserman's still alive.
Barry Sanders is up there.
Barry Sanders, I would put.
Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah. For guys our age. I mean, Miggy, we're talking top 5.
But I do think it's age dependent. If you are 27 years old right now and you grew up as a teenager in the peak of the
then read a fucking history book then.
Well, yeah, but that's what our parents used to say to us.
I know. And now I'm that age.
That's
Get off my lawn.
This is why I used to record.
I didn't have YouTube back then, though.
Right. Well, this is why I recorded every Barry Sanders game for like 7 years, because I was always like, when my fucking dipshit kid tries to tell me, because I used to do this to my dad. He'd be like, well, Jim Brown and Gale Sayers are pretty good. I'm like, fuck that. They're old. And then, so when my kid tells me
what do you know, Dad?
Some new, player is amazing, I was going to make him watch. What I did not know was coming was the wave of the internet, and I didn't know I was going to need the VHSs anymore. And I did tape over.
You didn't see the internet coming?
And not only that, I did tape over some really priceless footage of my sister and I as a kid that my mom wanted. That said, don't tape over the beginning for a random Vikings-Lions game in like 1994. But other than that, it was
about what's important.
It was worth doing. That is a story worth telling. Presented by our friends, Midtown Brewing Company. Outstanding place for a date night for should I just start the live read over? That was one of the worst stumbles ever. That was very much an Izzo.
We'll slap it through the after post.
Yeah. No. For again, colleague, lunch, a post work drink. If you just had enough of listening to Couch in the Rube, I'm telling you, Midtown Brewing Company, a drink there can ease you.
I didn't realize you were still going. I thought you were answering one of the questions.
And I'm like, wait a minute. I can't stop.
Chris Eastlick, number 1, Carmen Electra is. Whoops, that's not my take. All right, we get it, Eastlick. 2, can't wait for the next Couch in the Rube get-together. Just make sure it's not on a Thursday, not below 55 degrees or above 70 degrees, in between April and September for Graham. Mostly cloudy skies would be a nice bonus. Cozy like Midtown Brewing. Cue the live read. 3, where's Jeff Smoker? How about that? How about where's Ryan Van Dyke? And bonus, looking forward to another summer of Couch in the Rube, making lawn mowing a more enjoyable experience. Appreciate you both.
Appreciate you, Chris. And I do, look, I am, you only get one podcast to be your lawn mowing podcast. And
should we get a lawnmower sponsor?
I feel like we should, because if that's an honor to be somebody's lawn mowing podcast, to be honest.
Sure.
I mean, when I know what my podcast is, I go to, for the Lawn Mowing Podcast.
What you don't want to hear is I listen to it before I go to sleep.
Right.
Because, okay, does that mean because it helps you get to sleep because we're boring?
Listening to us at any point is fantastic, by the way. We appreciate that, especially a show like
Graham's
tonight,
ego, not mine.
which has been just complete ass.
Yeah, it's hot in here. Grob. Number 1, love that the rainout allowed Stafford to catch his historical Miggy game that is driving Jeff Rieger, Wojo, and the 97.1 crowd crazy. Hilarious. 2, love how the rainout allegedly pushed Aiden Hutchinson's first pitch to the second game loss, a bad omen. Did we do these last week? 3, love how the rainout allowed me to listen to an NFL scout saying GM's feed BS to Kuiper and McShay on purpose so a guy will drop. Hutchinson and Willis getting praised. Kayvon Thibodeau getting knocked. The scout team said turn on the tape. Thibodeau has a motor that won't stop. And bonus, love how the rainout allowed me to crunch Miggy numbers compared to Pujols. Miggy and at bat is better than Pujols in hits, doubles, triples, runs scored. You get it. Plus, only Miggy, Hank Aaron, and Willie Mays have 3,000 hits, 500 homers, and 300.
Yeah, no. I mean, Miggy's up there. It's an impressive list. I felt bad for the rain. I almost went to the game on Saturday, the first game after the rain out, and just I don't know. William decided not to, but I did feel bad for the people who made a big day of that. That sucked, right? You're going to see him hit 3,000. You have Friday night tickets, and Chris Eastlick can't get his shit together, and
blame the weather guy. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Mr. Benjen. Number 1, too much couch Wednesday show. Wednesday, Spartan Speak. Thursday, Twitter questions. I didn't submit because I couldn't take it anymore. 2, holy shit, did you see that Tyson Fury uppercut? Things started in Antarctica and ended on White's chin. Eastlick, that's not a southerly direction. 3, couch, 8 to 10 Oreos, and would have kept going without wife guilt. You are the most Eric Cartman-like of your friend group. And that's saying a lot if you're the Eric Cartman of your writer group.
Yeah, no, I mean,
man,
friend versus writers. I mean, there are others who partake in a fairly unhealthy.
I love Couch when he just brings people down with him.
It's kind of.
Oh yeah, I have friends that are way worse.
Did you watch the Fury fight at all?
No,
I did not.
I forgot about it.
It didn't seem. It seemed
Why
like.
Am I going to pay $90 or whatever it is for a minus 650 guy?
That's the thing. If I get a better, if it was worth betting on, I might have bought it.
Oh, enough hype on anything.
Yeah.
I'll tune in. Joshua Bishop. Number 1, the LeBron KD era of the NBA is over. 2, Major League is the best sports movie. And 3, Groovy Donuts needs to add a NC-17 warning to their picks that Samoa Donut was just straight sexual.
I had.
We had some this morning.
Yeah, same here.
Waited till I got home.
I
had to bite.
You didn't have them in the car, is what you're saying,
dude. I put them far in the back to where I couldn't reach them. I would have to kind of climb over the seat. And I got home and I'm like, I got to have one before my nap.
So I have
great.
I've got 6 of them there, and my wife does her thing where she cuts a bite out of each, and then we kind of decide what we like.
Why are we talking like this? We're talking like up all night on USA Network. Yeah, then I had this donut. It was absolutely wonderful.
Major League best sports movie ever? It's a good one.
It's up there.
Yep.
But it's a July topic that I don't want to waste my hot takes on.
Same with the LeBron KD era, which is I don't know that Durant's era is over. I just think that he's running to a team with length and
LeBron's going to play till he's 58.
I'm talking about Durant though.
Sure, but I don't think either one's over.
Yeah, and where LeBron goes, will he go somewhere where he doesn't have to be the lead guy? That's the question.
He's going to go to another team and make him trade all these picks, run it to the ground, and then leave again. Joshua Randy Weed. Number 1, Lions will have the best draft compared to all the other NFL teams in 1 year's time. 2, Lions' decision to pass on Hutchinson is heavily scrutinized by Mel Kiper and all other talking heads. Turns out it's the right call, as the sensationalized Hutchinson is the NFL bust. In hindsight, it was easily predictable by his average combine scores and extremely short T-Rex arms. Hashtag no Bosa. 3, the top 3 quarterback in this year's draft, other than Kenny Pickett, will have better career than the top 3 taken in the 2021 draft. That's hot.
Yeah, no, I don't think this is a great draft, but we never know on these quarterbacks at all. I'm looking forward to the draft. I just need it to get here. It's to the point where it's like I just can't do the build up anymore. I can't read anymore.
By the way, my friend Jordan still has the NFL Draft Challenge. If you want to get a hold of me, $100, pays top 3. FYI. Al, up next. Number 1, Mark Jackson is an awful NBA analyst. He reminds me of Billy Packer too much, so critical and such little joy. 2, I hope Calgary wins the Stanley Cup. And 3, the most overhyped sporting event each year is the NFL Draft.
You like the NFL Draft, though, don't you?
Love the NFL Draft.
Yeah.
Again, it was better on the weekend when
Totally.
the whole thing was Saturday, Sunday.
It was great. You sit there for 3-4 hours on 2 casual days. I don't like the broken up stretch of it, and I think I could deal with. No, it was just better. You're right. It was totally better.
Thursday night, it's just ass. Like, you can't hang out with your buddies.
And we wind up doing a Saturday morning Couch in the Room Twitter question show.
I forgot about that. Mike Scott, number 1, the NFL Draft. Wait a minute. Oh, shit. Wait, did Mike Scott have the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay, he thinks also the draft is most overhyped. 2, Jaden Ivey will be the best player coming out of the NBA draft. And 3, pounding Red Wings game overs because of their horrible defense has been extremely profitable. Bonus, Michigan weather's ass.
I feel like I missed out on this Red Wings play this year.
I think recently we missed out on it.
Okay. All right.
Hold on. Forgot about this one.
Buenos tardes. It is time for the Detroit Red Wings Gambling Update with Gramanito Couch and Jason Nick.
Yeah, no, I have an over. I don't think the Red Wings are going to make it. I had an over 77.5 points, and they're going to fall just short of it, which sucks.
Good Lord, 1-800-GAMBLER.
Yeah, right.
Jesus,
I just wanted a reason. I didn't put much on it. I just wanted a reason to watch the Red Wings all year, and so I put a little on it.
Mark, up next. Number 1, playing Liverpool is like playing against a combination of Michigan, Duke, and Ted Valentine. Disgraceful one-sided calls. No variance when Gordon...
VAR.
VAR?
Yep, VAR.
No VAR when Gordon gets thrown down in the box. A distinct holier-than-thou attitude and a ref who thinks he's part of the game and loses complete control. 2, premier refs are complete ass, but those announcers are even worse, accusing Everton of time wasting and parking the bus. Guess what? It almost worked. Everton is fighting for their life, and you complain because of aesthetics. We do not care if you are entertained. We need points. That should be soccer's motto. 3, this is how you become a 30-year-old fan of a Premier League team. You watch your rival get every call. The ref is against you. The announcers are against you, and you might get relegated. I have a disdain for Liverpool after experiencing years of this, and it's no different than college fandom.
I appreciate you, Mark, and I appreciate your passion, which I do not question for Everton, which is in a rough spot. I mean, they've been in the top flight of English football since, like, I think 1950 something. I mean, they're in a real fight now, and they might get sent down and have to play at least a year in a lower league, which is something that it just makes the English Premier League so cool and dramatic. Not if you're an Everton fan, but the drama of the promotion and relegation system, which you just don't get. Nobody tanks in the Premier League, because if you tank, you get dropped from the league. Can you imagine getting dropped from the NBA into the G League? Like, you wouldn't tank, and there's a lot of money you lose. Look, I did not love what they did with. If I were an official, I thought the official was ass, but I also thought that that Everton did a lot of time wasting. That if I were him, I would have gotten control of early on. And the way you get control out of that is you just that little extra time at the end of the first half, you put it at 15, and you say, okay, you're going to waste time. We're going to actually play soccer now.
Are we done?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Tyler, number 1, these hot takes are live from Dublin. Have you ever been, young Gramey?
That's how they spell Graham over there. Graeme.
I know. It's complete ass. 2, fuck, marry, kill. Shakira, Carmen Electra, and Salma Hayek.
Whoa.
Wow. 3, start, bench, cut. Giannis, Doncic, and Embiid. 4, Michigan will be a -4 and a hook at the big house, but MSU will hit the +175 money line for us all.
All right. So
early projections there from Tyler.
Appreciate you, Tyler, taking time to do this in Dublin, by the way. All right, so let's do your fuck, marry, kill. Where are you at on this?
Well, I'm marrying Carmen Electra.
Yeah.
Man, that's tough, dude.
That's tough. I'm a huge Shakira fan.
I'm going to lay down on top of Shakira and kill And kill Selma Hayek.
They're all three of those
Just
women.
because she's older.
At certain points in my life, all three of these women have been.
Keep your pants on, coach.
Start, bench, cut. Giannis, Luka, Joel, Embiid.
Shit. I guess I'm cutting Embiid because I like Doncic and Giannis.
Yeah.
I like Embiid, but I got to cut somebody.
Yeah.
Cucker Tarlson. Number 1, Jason, what is your daily obligatory apology for your whiteness today? 2, Graham is self-proclaimed man of value. You should call the gambler hotline for Jason before next sports season rolls around. And 3, planning on spending my life savings on Tuck memorabilia investment.
Yeah, instead I would call Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management. That is 248-626-2000. Not that Mel Tucker memorabilia isn't a wise way to also spend your money, but I think Mark and Jay could probably help you out in better ways.
I'm like Garth Brooks. I just stand in the mirror and apologize for being white, just crying. Tyrone Couch. Number 1, Hispanic ladies are hotter than Italians.
Random shit.
2, Miggy is not ass. Oh, come on. 3, 85 degrees yesterday was great. I got to ride my bike for 4 hours and feel accomplished. Can't do that shit in 50 degrees and drizzling rain.
That is a good point, but it's still it's still a little warm. You could have done it in 75. You could have done it in 70 is what I'm saying.
I heard you had like a preacher towel with you the other day.
Well, I have it's a sweat towel.
Yeah, like a preacher towel.
Yeah, it's a sweat towel.
Yeah.
No,
Is it offensive to say preacher towel anymore?
I've never heard it as a preacher towel.
Yeah, you see guys that are preacher like tapping their head.
Yeah. No, I always carry the sweat towel. It doubles as a food towel too when you're in the car and you're eating and things go wrong.
Can you just at least act like you want to be sexy at some point? Is this what she has to deal with forever? Hans Jurgen.
Hey, you guys are the one who want to put me in a freaking bra,
Yeah, because I don't know. Other than an intervention, I don't know where we go from here.
Yeah, sure.
Hans Jurgens. Number 1, I cowered in fear most of the weekend in my basement when I heard the Russians were attacking the dumbass. Finally, my mom called me and said the Russians were attacking the Donbass region. Donbass. Number 2, I need more ethnic groups and cuisine to come to my area. Lebanese, Ethiopian, Kavishi. I love them all. Diversity is yummy. And 3, I swear Jaren Jackson and Xavier Tillman have each grown by 3 inches since they left MSU. Keep going, Memphis, so I'll have something to watch.
Do you think the Grizzlies are like obviously with Draymond in Golden State, and that could be the matchup in the next round, which would be kind of fun. Do you watch Memphis at all? Do you pay attention because of those guys? Do you think it's an MSU fan?
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
If those guys, it brings back great memories,
absolutely.
and you have to root for those guys, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun to do that. Lastly, from the Jerk Guy, number 1, if unfettered name, image, and likeness continues, basketball is doomed. 2, if Izzo had a second national title, he would be retired. And 3, if Gores and Ishbia buys the Broncos, Mel Tucker will be their head coach.
These are real good from the Upper Deck Jerk Guy. I'm not I think that that college football is probably in a better spot to withstand NIL, even though there's a lot of money going into that to it. But it's not, the singular player doesn't impact college football the way it does college basketball. And I would be curious to have that discussion more on how they're doomed and how you see it. Because I am curious with all of you what you guys think about this and where your heads are on it and what you think of as fans about this. Are you worried for Michigan State? Do you worry the whole thing just turns you off? I think those are interesting things. And I don't necessarily disagree with it. If Izzo had a second national title, I do think it would be very interesting to see. Part of me thinks he couldn't give it up. The other part of me thinks he would absolutely be done. We appreciate all of you taking part with your hot takes and putting up with our shitty hot takes today, or at least my shitty hot takes today. Jason's were at least okay. We appreciate Skyman. Go to skymint.com for location information and specials. Just some great offerings always going on there. You can sign up and have the specials emailed to you. Also, if you have investment questions, we appreciate Mark and Jay, and they can help you too. They are here for you, 2 Spartan grads, 95 grads. Call 248-626-2000 or email them at info@northcoastwm.com. And thank you to Midtown Brewing Company. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Roof.